Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie and welcome back to the September series where I upload a video every other day. I just woke up, but I'm determined to have a successful and fabulous day. A couple of my plans: I want to go for a little hot girl walk this morning. I went to bed with my hair wet and it still isn't dry, which is kind of gross. I gotta walk it off. I also want to tackle some of my bingo board and choose the blank spaces and see what we can cross out by the end of the episode, including like the last vlog. And I will be reading Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. I have been in desperate, capital D, desperate need of a romance, to the point where I started like making up romance plot lines between characters that were it's not happening. Yeah, your girl's deranged and she needs help. This is the medicine. This is a story about two musicians. Somehow they're enemies, and I don't understand why, because they played two different instruments, so they can't be battling for first chair, but I will keep you updated. I did read the first chapter of it recently and I did like it. This is the author of Forget Me Not, which I gave 5 stars, and I did see some characters from that book in here. And the really big tip off was that they were at a wedding and our main girl was playing the violin for the wedding, except she gets up to play and this bitch is like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be playing the cello. And our girl's like, I play the violin. They have someone in the wedding party that just has a cello, so they bring it up, and she hasn't played the cello since she was 9. She's somehow able to like compose the key change like in her mind, and she ends up doing a great job. The guy who brought the cello though, that's him right there. She knows him as an excellent player. He has no idea who she is, and they're in the same orchestra. Embarrassing. But I can't imagine, first of all, playing by yourself in front of a crowd of others is the worst. I am not. But playing in front of a guy that you respect as a musician, you're playing his literal instrument and he's staring at you and like judging you. Thank God it went well. That's all I gotta say. And I'm sure by the end of it, he was in love. That's how these usually go. He's not gonna say a fucking word, but he's in love with her. I know Julie Soto writes fanfic. Is this an original story or is this fanfic? It's kind of giving Raylo. Like, that's Adam, what's his face? If you've got insider knowledge, let a girl know. All right, I'm gonna put some pants on. Sorry. And let's go for a walk. Sorry. Y'all, I just sat in my bedroom with the window closed. Also, ignore my bra. There's like 17 bras over there. I have boobs, okay? You're the first one to know. But it was getting so hot in there that literal sweat was running down my face, and I started talking. Sounded like a crazy person by the end. So I'm gonna give you a little recap instead. First, I cracked open a Monster, because of course. And I updated that I got to the 25% mark of this book. It has taken me all morning. I'm having a lot of trouble concentrate. Let me talk about the heat one more time, okay? Summer's almost over. September isn't as hot as August. I'm sounding like an insane person again, but it's less windy, so it feels so much hotter when you're inside without AC. And I know I bitch about this a lot, but I think it's rotting my brain. Today, my brain is just like, water. So yeah, it's taken me a while to get the 25% mark, but I am enjoying myself. I looked up pretty immediately. I had to know. I went on Reddit and I was like, what is this a fan fiction of? And it was actually the author's first fan fiction that she ever wrote and published, which is very exciting. And on the Reddit post, there's a link to a Google Drive PDF, and I looked at it and you can just read the fan fiction. So I'm gonna do that maybe after I rewatch Raylo, which this is definitely a Raylo fan fiction. And honestly, I didn't even need to look it up. If I had just given it a couple more chapters, it's blatantly blatantly obvious, and I find that very fun. I'm not too familiar with the Reylo lore. I watched those episodes of Star Wars in theaters when they first came out, and I never rewatched them. I do remember Reylo, this combo, being the best part of that film franchise, at least like that section of it, much to the ridicule of my boy Grant, was my boyfriend at the time. He has since leveled up, but him and his friends hated those movies. I feel like they were just haters. They were just complaining about Disney, and I'm sure they had their reasons, but they specifically hated that there was like this weird tension between these characters. That was the best fucking part. It was a little weird because for a couple of the movies, I couldn't tell if they were going to be twins or lovers, and that is a bit of a tightrope to walk, but it paid off. I thought it was the best part. And you know what's very strange? Within the past month, I have been getting Reylo edits on my TikTok page. Never had them before. Suddenly they're popping up like crazy. Maybe it's because they're making the love hypothesis, and so the girlies are looking shit up. But damn, those edits are hot. They're hot, respectfully. And so a part of me, if I weren't doing the September series, I would put a pause on this so that I could rewatch those movies, or at least I'm sure someone on YouTube has put up just their scenes. My hot take is probably not even that hot of a take, is that I love comparing a fan fiction to the original stuff. Like, I can love the book for itself, and I'm sure I've read so many books that I don't even realize are fan fiction, but there's just an extra added layer of fun when I can connect the dots. It turns into a game. And the little I know about the Reylo situation, I was way more of a episode 1, 2, 3 girly, but I was born in 1994, so that makes sense. What was I saying? It's too fucking hot. I gotta put my hair up. I think I was saying that as little as I know about that iteration of the Star Wars franchise, I do remember several things, and it's so like connected to this, and it is fun. Something that I didn't mention that was in chapter 1 is that this dude, his name is Xavier. He actually has a couple of names, but on the back of the book it says Xavier. I don't mean to be flicking him off. Let me use my... I'm just gonna flick him off. He's actually in like a string quartet rock band, which I'm laughing at, but I would listen to it too, okay? And so the dark side is potentially the cello. First of all, Jedi / the good side are the violin, the dark side is the cello, and also possibly rock music. I don't know. To be determined. That's funny. That's hilarious. And so it adds a level of humor to this that's just like, no, it's not the serious book about two people playing instruments. It's a comedy about how the cello is evil. That's fucking hilarious. Anyway, he plays in this rock band. She worships this band. She even has like a poster on her wall of him being shirtless and hot and playing the cello. Love it. So not only was she playing in front of this man that she plays an orchestra with, that she respects, but it's also like her idol, her pop star. So that does add a little bit to the dynamic. And what I found out about their rivalry, which is very much in quotation marks, and it's very much in her head. This is Gwen, by the way. Gwen Xavier. Nope, his name is Xander. Sorry. It's hot. What was I saying? I'm about to whip my shirt off, and I can't do that on YouTube. God damn. Oh, their rivalry. It's very much in Gwen's head. It's very much giving a couple of Ali Hazelwood books where the girl is just so fucking adamant, despite literal evidence that he's in love with her. She's gonna die in the hill that he hates her. I find almost nothing else more infuriating. I find it annoying. It's almost insulting. It is insulting. Fuck you. No, sorry. It's a little intense. He did say some shit. He said something pretty fucking rude, which I love it when they do that for a love interest, which is a weird thing to say, but I need a little bit of tension at first, and I need the person to grovel. It needs to make sense why they aren't just like banging at the beginning, you know? The rivalry between them, use quotation marks, is because first chair in their orchestra, I never made it to this level. Okay, we only had a hierarchy within our instruments, but I think there's a hierarchy within the entire string section. So if you're first chair, no matter if you play the violin or the cello, you're in charge of the violins and the cellos. She's also something called the concert master. Sounds like a lot of responsibility, especially for someone very young who's only been there for like 4 years. I say only because like a girl in third chair has been there for 20 years and she didn't get this position. That's definitely coming up later. Apparently he really wanted this first chair position. When he finds out that he doesn't get it, she's right outside of the room. He barges out and he's like, what the fuck is she doing here? He says, of course, she'll certainly make for a pretty picture on the brochure. Doesn't matter if she can play, I guess. Which is a bold thing to say since he literally just watched her kill it the night before. I wrote on the page, the fuck? So yeah, but what's crazy is that before this interaction, she had already decided that they were enemies. Her evidence, he stared at her lovingly all night long.
Wow. Wish I had an enemy like that. Again, I'm married and my husband loves me very much, okay? I just gotta say shit if it's funny. I'm a Gemini. What do you want from me? But even after saying that, he's already back to goo goo gaga eyes for her. Emma, who shows up again, I thought she'd be a one-hit wonder, but she's still in this book. She calls Gwen up. That's our girlie right here, if you don't remember. And she said, hey, can you come play the actual violin for another wedding? Gwen shows up. Guess who's there? This fucker right here. They're gonna play a duet, and the entire time they're playing, they're staring deep into each other's eyes. They're not even looking at the music. And she about has an orgasm, and I'm not exaggerating. She says, that's how they played the rest of the wedding. The bride walked down the aisle to Elton John, and Gwen held Xander's gaze the entire time. That's too much eye contact for me. I can't even keep eye contact with a camera. Imagine how shifty I am when I'm looking at another human being. Neither of them needing anything but each other. When the ceremony began, Gwen's heart was pounding and she couldn't catch her breath. She felt like she'd run miles, or like she'd ... Well, this bitch almost came playing at a wedding. That's crazy. Her body pulsed. I'm gonna stop here. Afterwards, it says, when the song ended, Gwen couldn't meet his eyes. I just wrote, girl. And I'm giggling because I get it, okay? And this is the part in my little entry where I started talking about how connected I am to music. Blah, 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 blah. I started making the vlog about me. I did crack open my French horn, and she's so pretty. I'll show you right here, okay? And then I also brought my guitar out because I gotta show my girlies off. And I showed you all of this to say that I get it, okay? I buy this attraction in something I love in books. This seems to be a very intense kind of story. It's not a fun, light, goofy, bantery story. I love it when authors use a non-verbal intensity. And I'm not just talking sex, but like just glancing. Music is something that really helps with that. Dancing, anything like that. So I really like how this author's doing it. I hope there's a fuck ton more of that, of glances across the orchestral room. And I think I read years ago, well, this came out a year ago. That was an exaggeration. Fuck. Yeah, this came out July 2024. So I heard a year ago that the inspiration this author had when she made her fan fiction, maybe it was years ago then. Damn, I'm so defensive. That she was inspired to write this fan fiction because she was at a music hall and she was watching a performance and she noticed that the first chair of the cello and the first chair of the violin, because of the arc, they would end up staring straight at each other. That like inspired this whole book, or inspired the fan fiction that wrote this book. So that's really exciting. That's something that's like, oh, I would write some fan fiction about that too. Also, I was gonna edit out this bit, but in the sweaty clip, I said that I was in the French jazz band, which is very, very different from the actual jazz band, aka we really sucked. But a couple of the years I played guitar, and then one year there were too many guitar players, so they made me play the bass, and I played the bass like this, and I just have to not hide my shame. I need to step up because this could come out and I could be canceled for this. This is how I played the fucking bass. I really tried. I tried, but I couldn't do it. So yeah, now you know my deep dark secret. I can play the bass, but I can only play it incorrectly. So yeah, I am into their connection. I'm into the music shit, which for some reason I was wondering if I wouldn't be into it. Honestly, it's giving me a little FOMO. I'm not gonna lie, because I did at one time have plans to maybe play my little French horn professionally for like a job for the rest of my life. So there's a tiny little part of me that avoids music stuff, I think, because it's kind of sad that it's not like a thing anymore for me. Boo-hoo, Allie. But for the most part, it's just really fun to witness these characters. And I'm not a nitpicky kind of person. This is just, oh, what the fuck was that? This is just for fun, and I'm having fun. The only thing that's gonna bring this rating down is that I don't know if I care about the hierarchy of this orchestra. I care about the tension between these two, and the hierarchy maybe that could inspire the tension or connection between these two, something that could cause this scene to occur. But because this is Star Wars based and I know who these characters are, like the Luke Skywalker connection, I'm giggling. I just know there's going to be a governmental political aspect to the hierarchy of this orchestra as a whole. The leaders, I don't care. But I do trust this author to make me shut my mouth, because when I read this book, I was like, oh, I don't like books with weddings. Julie Soto proved me wrong. I said, I don't like evil mentors. Julie Soto proved me wrong. I said, I don't like a fast-paced third act. Soto. Julie Solo. Sorry. And I thank her for that. So I need to stop doubting the queen. Yes, 1 5-star, 1 book. She's a queen. And I just need to trust the process. And if I don't end up loving it, at least I'll have fun with these two having horny musical sessions. My battery's dying. I'm gonna keep reading.
watch things you didn't speak. I come out and my heart just turns blue. Oh, 'cause begging my heart to you. All the things you did to say them, I'm begging for love. They're growing inside my brain. Maybe I'm too scared.
Alright, I got to the halfway mark and I am so invested and I'm loving this. What Step Up did for dancers, this is doing for band geeks. And for that, I have to clap. And my god, we got this scene way sooner than I thought. I thought we would have to wait till the very fucking end of the book. Maybe there's more. I kind of hope so. It was hot. And I like how Julie Soto doesn't make us wait too long for a little bit of spice. Just a little bit. She gives it up. Wait, that sounded weird. But for this kind of intensity, again, this is the opposite of fucking light. They're very dramatic and very serious. I think if you tried to hold out to the end of the book, you couldn't keep that like dark. I'm using dark in quotations. This isn't a dark romance. I mean more so the opposite of light. Serious. You couldn't keep this serious tension for an entire book. You need to feed us something and then take it away. And that's exactly what she's doing. The only problem is the reason she's taking it away, or the reason it's being taken away, is so dumb. And I don't believe it. Like, it's basically our main girl being illogical. And I have a lot of trouble enjoying those scenarios because it's so frustrating. I need some logic. I just get so impatient when things don't make sense because this girl is leaping to conclusions, not skipping, leaping. And her basis for making these is just paranoia, which I suppose is relatable for some people, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. But there is a back and forth, so it's not a complete frustration. I mean, it's frustration in the best way, but also I hate that that's the conflict, that she just doesn't believe that he likes her. I must have been a fucking narcissist when I used to have crushes because I always assumed people liked me more than they actually did, and then I would get humbled real quick. This girl's like the complete opposite of me. And maybe that's why I'm so frustrated. But like, they had a scene, I'm not gonna spoil it, but the cover kind of spoils it. And I wonder if some people think it came out of nowhere, but I just think it was perfect. She has her paranoia, she storms out, and then a couple weeks later, he's begging for her attention. They're like in their office kitchen. I guess it's not an office, their workplace kitchen. And she has honey on her fingers. I don't even know why. She sticks him in her mouth, just watches him drool. I mean, I love a messy bitch, so she's gotten me back. She can be illogical if she's messy. I'll give that to her. But yeah, I am writing some frustrating things on the page because she keeps saying things like, well, why does he even care to be here? If he says he doesn't care about the orchestra, why is he here? Bitch, are you dumb? Like, oh. There was something that like really got my little heart pit-pattering. He composed this song. He got her to perform it for him. And she made a couple little mistakes. He then performed it to a few people. He changed the composition to include those mistakes she made. That shit, oh my god. When my little ears went, the first half, I think I would give 4.25, and I'm only docking it because I don't care about their orchestra at large. And also, her jumping to conclusions without any evidence is pissing me off. And I want to make it clear, I don't think it's because I don't like what her character's doing. Obviously, I don't like it, but it really does feel, and see, this is maybe where fan fiction has its biggest fault, is that if you're trying to fit things scene to scene, it makes it feel more like the problem they're having just isn't constructed well because it's not giving good reasoning, and it's only there because it was there in the movie, you know? That's me leaping to fucking conclusions, but that's what it feels like. It feels like the author was like, I need a reason for them not to be getting along right now, so I'm just gonna make her paranoid. I don't know. Let me know if you agree. Or if you disagree. Fuck it. But the romance right now is a 5-star. Like, their connection, I'm really loving it. I'm loving how the author's written it. It's very much yearning right now. It's phenomenal. I just don't have the highest hopes for the second half, so maybe that'll mean I'm pleasantly delighted and surprised. We shall see.
Alright, ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't wanna say another word unless I'm saying it right, or you're saying it first. I wanna make this last. Don't wanna move too fast. And I don't wanna say another word or put it down in a verse. Sick of sounding rehearsed. Don't wanna be like that, but I don't wanna hold back. decide. I just keep my head in the clouds and I'm just hanging around, but I ain't hanging around unless I'm hanging with you. That's all I want to do. So used to people letting me down, always being a clown, but
I've gotten to the 75% mark. I need to make some quick comments. I realize I chat way too much. And obviously I can't get into details this far into a book, but this has been a very good chunk. Just happy serotonin, dopamine, all of the good chemicals. And I'm waiting for the other fucking shoe to drop. And now I'm scared to finish this. But my God, when I was squealing, it wasn't even for a spicy scene. It was a scene of them playing their fucking instruments, and I really said something when I said this is the step up for band geeks. That needs to be a quote on the fucking book. Because my God, these two nerds playing their instruments has me squealing more than them doing it. And then we saw them doing it and it was very, very hot. I like Julie Soto smut. Something I like about fan fiction or just indie romance in general is that oftentimes there's not a regular arc. We kind of have a different timeline of a relationship. We sometimes get to see things that wouldn't be normally traditionally published, which obviously now it has been. But yeah, I like the pacing. Do I think it's gotten serious a little quickly? Yeah, but I'm an avoidant girly, so what can you do? The only flaw in this section, and honestly, it was so irritating, I'm going to think about it whenever I think about the book going forward, was that there was this one chapter from Xander's point of view, not Xavier's point of view. It read like a Wikipedia entry. It was like this big long explanation in history. It was very strange, just tonally compared to not only the rest of the book, but even the rest of his chapters and POVs. It was just like an info dump. I don't know. That was, I feel, weirdly written. Other than that though, the tension, the romance, the happiness, it's so good. So I'm gonna finish, give you my final rating. And if you're a band nerd, for God's sake, pick up this book. I just realized I got so into this book that I didn't even talk about the bingo board yet. Okay, we're gonna do that at the end, I promise.
Got all these moments and feelings I can't describe. I'm going crazy, replaying them in my mind. Misunderstandings and damages to my pride knock me off my balance. I'm falling from cloud nine, but this ain't feeling right. We don't have to fight, you know. We could let it go. Yeah, we could let the bygones just be by.
Alright y'all, I finished it. And it's crazy how long it took me to read the first quarter of this book because the rest of it, I just flew through. I feel like that happens every single time I read. I'm always like dragging my feet trying to get into it. And then I'm like, when will I learn? Probably never. I ended up loving this story so much. And it's funny because the first sentence of the acknowledgements is a long time ago on an AO3 page far, far away. This story about two remarkable idiots was born. And they are fucking idiots. And I'm so glad she pointed that out. I want to make it clear though, in case anyone really hates what I was talking about earlier, when a character is given all this evidence and then just like refuses to believe it. It didn't last that long. I was scared it would last the whole book. It didn't even last half of the book. So just so you know, I do still see a few flaws, but I'm giving this a 4.5. Oh, can I do that though? Let me talk it out. First of all, the music part of it was the best part and the thing that really hit my emotions the most. Like the part I was tearing up at, it wasn't any words that were being spoken. It wasn't even an inner monologue. It was like a performance that was describing basically all of the emotions. And she did such a good job with that. Oh my God. And the third act, I'm so used to third acts just being total bullshit that I hardly even blink at them anymore. This was such a believable third act. After a minute, it leaned into like a villain twirling his mustache kind of thing, and then I rolled my eyes. But the actual conflict, it was such a good conflict because you could see from all sides, you can see all perspectives. They were all making great points, and it was like an argument that needed to happen. That is so rare in a traditional romance book, especially contemporary. I think the number one thing lowering this rating is that this book needs to be like 3 times as long or like a series because it does feel a little bit rushed, especially at the end, even though like I liked the things that were happening. When you think about it, they knew each other what, like a month tops? I'm just saying. I think I'm gonna have to cook on my rating because right now I just want to give it a 4.5 because of how much I love both the music and the romance. And I can't tell if this is gonna lean down or lean up. But right now it's a 4.5. What can I say? And it just solidifies that Julie Soto is for me. She's for me, and I need to stop hesitating and stop doubting this woman. There were a few lines throughout the book too that I just had to underline. Also, I wrote all throughout this book, just like, excuse me, exclamation points, OMGs, like all throughout. And man, I am a little pissed at myself for waiting this long to read it. And just like with weddings, I think I'm gonna give musical books, ooh, see, I don't even want to say this sentence because I feel that this is just gonna be a big fat exception, but maybe I should give musical books more of a chance. Now, when singing is in a book, I'm sorry, I just can't deal with lyrics, but just instrumentals, maybe that could be my new thing, because damn, did it speak to me directly. Anyway, I had a wonderful time. Let's talk about this bingo board now. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I made this bingo board for me to complete in the month of September, and there are 2 blank spaces. I asked you all in the comments of a video to give me suggestions, and they had to be suggestions that everyone can also use in case you want to play along. Oh, one of the prompts is to watch a movie show based on a book you've read. This really did make me want to watch those Star Wars movies, which is crazy because I've read a lot of fan fiction and I've never thought, like, even Reylo fan fiction, I've read so much of that and I've never been like, oh, I want to watch the original shit. This made me want to watch it, but I'm not going to put that in because I don't know if I have time to watch shit. Ooh, this is a life prompt that I could cross out. Is that cheating? But I also think it's a good prompt for everyone. Janet Earls 762 says, do some self-care, face mask, manicure, etc. I just did a manicure in my last video. I also like the life prompt, try a new hobby or craft, but I'm trying not to spend money right now. So I'm gonna solidify, this is so cheating, I'm sorry. Do some self-care. And then let me read through these so my camera doesn't overheat. Also, it's 85 degrees in my house right now and it's 11:14 p.m. That should be illegal. I'm gonna read through these reading prompts and let you know what I choose. 1 second. Okay, Love Not Hate 968. I'm using your book prompt idea. This is because I love being random even when I've like already planned out a TBR, but use a color wheel and pick a book that is the color that the wheel lands on. I think you can just Google like a color wheel. That's what I'm gonna do. And then I can just read something randomly. Oh my god, it's gonna be so fun. Let's lock that in. Also, I feel like I cheated with that life prompt. So I'm gonna leave it blank, but I'm gonna keep it there because I'll probably need it in the second half of the month and I'll have to figure something else to do for self-care. I really should have more than one self-care thing in mind for myself, TBH. So let's see what we can cross off between the Dungeon Crawler Carl book. Also, look at me saying that without stuttering. All right, so for this video, I read a fantasy novel. Also, yes, I am like double, tripling up on prompts. If I somehow black this board out before the end of the month, I have to start from scratch. Animal on the cover also is scratched out. I listened to an audiobook of Carl yesterday, and by the way, I did listen to the audiobook for, what am I pointing at? My library did have a copy of the audiobook. I really like Gwen's voice, like the narrator who did her voice. The entire audiobook sounded tinny, like it was a recording of a recording. And the dude, I skipped his chapters. I just don't like the way he narrated it, so I read those parts with my eyeballs. Just my honest opinion. I guess I'm just hopping around now, but this was on my TBR, so I can cross that out. And it was a romance novel. Ooh, we are looking good. Oh wait, let me cross out this free space. And Dungeon Crawler Carl is a backlist book. Body part on the cover. Okay, wait, am I about to black this shit out in just a couple days? Are there flowers on here? Nah. And I think that's where we stand. So maybe tomorrow, a book with sprayed edges. I'm not ready to make a treat, so I don't think I'm gonna go for that. Should I? I can at least try a new drink and go on an adventure in my next vlog. And we can get one little bingo on the board. We'll see what else it covers. This is so fun. I love a bingo board. I don't think this is gonna last long if I really speed through this, but fuck it, it's fun. If I were being a little bit stricter, I would not let myself double up, so use your discretion if you want to be a hard version. Also, I'm sweating. I'm gonna have to take like a 4th shower of the day. I think it's time to wrap it up. Thank you for listening to me yap. This was a very fun video. I had a pleasant surprise. It's definitely not the same like overjoyed, I just smoked cracked feeling that this book gave me, but this was just a good, happy, fun time. I guess it wasn't that fun. It wasn't like a fun book. It was very serious, but I've had fun, okay? Also, this month is almost halfway over. I've only read 2 books. How many have you read? Let me know. Anyway, I'll see you the day after tomorrow. Goodbye!